Welcome back to the Postpartum Plan podcast. This podcast is designed to support and empower you through postpartum. Whether you're expecting, in the early postpartum days, or beyond, this space is for you. I'm your host, Madison Fugere, a dedicated postpartum doula and pediatric sleep consultant, striving to help parents feel confident and supported in their parenting journey. Each week, I'm sharing practical tips and expert advice to help you navigate all the postpartum things with confidence. Well, as much confidence as you can. Let's embark on this journey together, making your parenthood as serene and supportive as possible. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the podcast. It is me and just me today. And today, I mean, you guys are listening. This goes up on a Saturday. Today is the day before at 8:30 p.m. I'm actually still working. I'm at a client's house. They are currently at a wedding. And so I am now here realizing that I need to record a podcast. So we're going with it. Um, when I tell you guys that you guys get like a raw and real podcast, I am not joking. And raw and real to add that there is a fireworks show happening and it ended and I thought it was done and now it's going off again. So who knows? Maybe the baby will wake up. Maybe the fireworks will make their way into the podcast. Who knows? But today I was trying to think of what topics to do. And I wanted to do a short and sweet episode. And I was thinking about how I did a presentation at a perinatal healthcare providers summit a month or so ago now. And on that presentation, I talked about sleep because, like, why not, right? And one of the things that I talked a lot about is the safe sleep, different things that we see that are not safe sleep solutions. And so I wanted to kind of talk about those today. So safe sleep, according to the AAP guidelines, there's so much to it. I've done an episode on safe sleep before, I believe. Let me look. I think I did. Who knows though, y'all? Actually, you know what? I really didn't. So maybe we'll just talk about all the things safe sleep. So, okay, let's do it. So safe sleep guidelines, according to the AAP. There are so many of them, so typically I break it down into the most common ones, and that's what I did for the summit. So I'm actually reading off of some of the slides here. I think that'll make the most sense to make my brain like stay in line. And so the three things that I typically say is you want to remember the ABCs, right? So the ABCs of safe sleep, again, we're talking about the AAP's guidelines, is the idea that you want your baby alone. So you want them placed alone in a space. That means that there's no like any items in there that can cause suffocation, entrapment, rebreathing. So like no blankets, no toys. You don't want them in loose clothing. You want it to make sure it fits properly so it's not moving by their mouth. You don't want loose sheets. You want something nice and tightly fitted on the mattress. The big one we like see is no crib bumpers. I see those a lot. And those are actually not safe either, even if they are the mesh ones. So like we said, it's suffocation, entrapment, and then rebreathing is the other thing that we're worried about. So we want to make sure that babies aren't breathing in and out of the same pocket of air over and over because that can cause rebreathing, which means there's no oxygen left for them to inhale. So that's the A for ABCs. The B stands for back. So you want babies always being put on their back, even if they can roll. So if they're able to roll from back to belly, we still want to place them on their back until they're 1 year old. Then you can start placing them down their belly. If they sleep better on their belly, we want them to roll onto their belly on their own. That also goes with if babies can roll from back to belly, you do not need to go in to roll them back onto their backs once they learn to roll onto their bellies. Even if they cannot roll from belly back to their back, they are still safe to sleep on their belly. And the more you go in and flip them to their back, the more often they are going to do it so that you go in. And the longer it's going to take them to learn that other skill of rolling back to their back or learning to be comfortable and sleep on their belly. So that's the B. And the C is crib. You should always be putting your baby in a crib, and you can't see me right now, but I'm doing air quotes around that. So you can lay your baby in one of these three locations. Is according to the AAP, a safe sleep space is either a crib, a bassinet, or a pack and play. And those are the only three locations where they say it is safe to sleep a baby. Um, a lot of the common unsafe sleep things I see are in relation to these three. So like we talked about crib bumpers, right? Another thing that we talk about is that rebreathing, right? So the big part with that I see is baby loungers. Those are the biggest common unsafe sleep environment I see. Wow, I'm tired, y'all. Um, so baby loungers such as the DockATot, the Snuggle Me, things like that, are almost like bolstered baby loungers, can be an issue, but a lot of people don't realize that because for the longest time they were used as co-sleeping tools to keep adults or other things and people and animals and such in the bed from getting onto baby. But there have been recalls on those and they're only suggested for supervised laying down now. The last thing that I want to mention is the, oh, so sorry. Baby was moving on the monitor. I got distracted. The last thing that I see a lot of is the idea of a flat, safe surface, right? So we talked about those three safe surfaces. One of the parts with safe sleep is that we do not want babies sleeping in a space that is more than a 10% incline. So the big things that we see with that are swings, bouncers, and movement things in baby apparatuses such as those, car seats as well, because oftentimes babies will fall asleep in them and then people will just let them sleep in there. And oftentimes when I mention how this is not a safe space, parents will often tell me, oh, well, it's okay because I'm in the room with them. And as much as that's great, the worry with these over 10% inclined spaces is two things. One, when they're over 10%, babies have a lot easier of an ability to roll. So if it's something that they're not strapped into, it's very easy for them to arch their back and roll, and it can cause them to fall. The second thing is the fact that what we're worried about for their air passages and their breathing in this situation is the idea of asphyxiation. So because of the position that their neck is in, their neck is not going to be able to be in the right angle, I guess you could say, I guess is the word I'm looking for, to be able to breathe properly. Which means asphyxiation will occur, and asphyxiation is something that happens silently. So no matter if you are next to your child or in the same room as them, you're not going to notice if they're doing like having this issue because it's silent. So being in the room with them is really not a good out for letting your kiddos sleep in a space like that. So the real question is kind of like what we're seeing out in the world, right? Like those types of things are what we're seeing, and the education behind those is not being shared, right? On social media, we're seeing people using these types of apparatuses. I see people using a lot of weighted sleep sacks as well, which are extremely unsafe. Companies like Dreamland Baby, especially I find, are using influencers to post about their products in order to share their products. But that is actually extremely unsafe, their product of that weighted sleep sack. And because people are seeing influencers using it, they're not realizing that. And so it's really important to make sure that you're looking into products that you're purchasing when it comes to sleep specifically. I think that's the biggest things that I think about when I talk about safe sleep. So I think I'm going to leave it as that. We're going to do a short and sweet episode. Also, just because I know the audio is horrible because I'm using my AirPods right now and I'm not in my typical space. So I have a feeling it's going to be tinny and echoey. So I apologize. But that is all the information I have on that. If you are struggling with sleep with a kiddo that you currently have, or are pregnant or preparing to bring a kiddo into your life, or moving them from a bassinet to a crib, and you're interested in some more information on safe sleep or products that I suggest, please reach out. I'm more than happy to help and to share some of my favorite things with you guys. So yeah, that is all. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll talk to y'all soon.
Thank you so much for tuning into the Postpartum Plan podcast. I hope that today's episode brought you support, relatability, and valuable insight. Remember, you're not alone on this journey. If you enjoyed the show, please subscribe and leave a review and share with any of your prenatal and postpartum friends and family. Your feedback helps us reach more parents seeking support. And if you're looking for additional resources, please feel free to connect via Instagram at Serene Moments Doula for constant information, tips, and tricks, or check out my website, www.serenemomentsdoula.com. See you next week.